Greetings guys, Jay Smith here, down at Bray Golf Range in Suffolk. Mizuno ST220G Driver time. I really wish people, not Mizuno, everyone, would just make things a little bit shorter. Just makes things a lot easier to come off the tongue. But anyway, remember when I said this? It'd be very interesting to see going forward in the year if they do produce a movable weighted option. If they did, with this face, wow. Yeah. That was about the old STZ driver, the ball speed king. Since then, age is keeping up with me and the fact that I've had a shoulder, wrist injuries, bits and pieces like that. So I'm not quite swinging at the same speed as I used to, even 6 months ago, so I'm kind of recuperating, but I'm gonna put more effort in as I get older. But anyway, I wanted to test this because I played the 200G. I do need lower spin, so of course, as soon as anyone comes out with a low spin driver, I'm thinking, because that's where I get my longest shots. So, different to normal. Rather than me going outside, hitting a load of shots, and with this massively adjustable driver, I'm putting it all in its different settings, because it's got like 70-ish, give or take. What I thought I would do is blind test people. Because you can't really do it yourself, because you guys that are gonna sit on the fence about things, and you're right, you're gonna turn around and say, well, that's not, you can't test that, it's not fair, because you know where you're putting the weights. What you need to do is you need to give it to someone else when they don't know where you put the weights. So that's exactly what I've done. I've given it to a few people to hit and captured the data. And it's gonna be quite interesting to see, because it is blind testing. It is done exactly how you guys would like it to be done. So let's go outside first of all. Let's go give it a hit. Let's go see how it sounds, how it feels, how it looks. And then let's get down to the more important number testing and just go see exactly how one of the most adjustable drivers in the world works. So guys, now in the outdoor teaching bay. So we're gonna have a look at the ST220G, what it offers tech-wise, what it looks like, what it feels like, etc. And yeah, so anyway, head cover, yeah, classic boxing glove head cover. Also, great winter mitts. Yep, cool, that's that one done. Right, so quickly, just before we start, normally I obviously try and keep everything apples to apples, etc. And that means trying to keep the shaft exactly the same. In the STZ, STX and SGG, that was going to be my intention. However, because of one thing, so the G is more player inspired, which means effectively you've got that, the head does have a tendency, just move this alignment stick, there we go, does have a tendency to act a touch open as standard compared to Z and especially X, which is slightly more draw biased. Now that is also loft specific, so a 9-degree head will sit about 1 degree open as standard. However, as soon as you start moving loft around, in this case the first thing I do is whack it straight down, is that kind of twist the face a bit more open, and then it makes it look even more right. So when I first did the tests in the standard normal shaft that I was going to do, everything started to go right as normal. It wasn't anything purposeful, it was every single shot was going right, going right, going right. And then even if you put the weights in the draw position, because you got different positions on there, which we'll go into a sec, it was still wanting to favour the right. So then I had to break a rule. I'll say break a rule. I'm not normally shaft sensitive, but this is the first time in a long time that I've had to go hunting for shafts to go fix the head thing. And so we've got into the CK Tensai Orange X-Flex 60 gram. And that, just with the counterbalance, allows the head to catch up a touch more straight shots. I have still got it in the draw setting though. So to the head, let's go technology wise quickly. You've got the movable weight option. The Z is the weight in the back, the X the weight in the heel, draw biased. This thing has got weights anywhere you want it. 2 whopping great big heavy weights can be put in the little channels that you have. You've got, they're not as long as the 200G from last year, but it does mean one thing. You have now got access to another little wee port on the back, and that port on the back, high MOI, the forgiveness, the uber forgiveness setting. So you have your draws, you have your fades, you have your low spin, and then you also have that, which is an interesting test. Does it make a difference? We will see. That's the whole idea of it. We've got blind testing to do, which will mean Not me, because I can't blind test myself, but we've got Mike, who's the other pro here. We've blind tested him, and also a handicap golfer, we've blind tested him to see what difference they make. So, looking down by the ball, I'm not really one for someone who can tell much difference between heads unless it is very distinctive and very in your face. This to me, apart from saying STG near the back on the crown, it looks just exactly the same as an STX or STZ from the top. I've even got to a point where I put all three heads down and then see if I can see the difference, and then I'll stick it up on screen so you can tell, and by all means I'm probably going to get criticised something chronic, but just go down to the comment section and see if you can tell a distinct difference. We're not talking I think it's a little bit like that, we're talking distinct. It has to be, I guess, because my eyes are, I'm getting old. So anyway, let's go give it a hit, because we've done all the looks, we've done most of the tech, still got carbon crown. I see. Counterbalance shaft all the way, guys. Well, for this one it is anyway. Just allows me to square the old girl up a bit. I'm going to take that tee again, winner, because they do tend to disappear. But yeah, the feeling, I don't know if you can hear that one, guys, but I tell you what, it's not loud. It sounds louder in here, obviously, because sound reverberates to a certain extent. But it's a positive punch. It's not high-pitched crack by no stretch. It's not like a titanium tip. I mean, it has got a carbon crown on the top to try and allow for those whopping weights down the bottom. But let's go give it another go. Again, just feels lovely, doesn't it? Well, I'd say you don't even know, but it feels lovely. All the tea's gone over there. Yeah, that means I'm not quite certain yet which one's my favourite. Is it the Z or is it this one? Obviously this one for the performance. Yeah, this one will outperform the Z all day long when it comes to spin profile. You just can't get away from it. This is a lower spin profile head. And the fact that it's actually got all those movable weights now, potentially one could ask, and it's probably an interesting test to do you need a Z or an X if effectively the G does them all? Possibly. Because bear in mind, also, when we're talking about this is a 9-degree head, and I'm whopping it, generally speaking, right down to 7 degrees. By doing such a thing, obviously it twists the face open, so that's why I'm experiencing balls that go out to the right. Most amateur golfers that don't swing so fast and need slightly higher loft, the more you twist the loft up, as such, add the loft up, it does twist the face a little bit more draw biased in that sense. So what I'm experiencing when it comes to the right-hand side of the golf course, general golfers will not see this when it comes to this head, which is interesting. Will it be interesting? Well, we'll see. Anyway, let's give it another hit. Well, you wouldn't want any of those free back, really, would you? Where's that tee gone? All over there. I like it. I do. It's a really solid, punchy feel off the face. It's not soft off the face or anything else like that. Anyone who wants a driver to be soft, good luck. It's a driver. It's not supposed to feel soft. It's supposed to be confidence inspiring. Bang! I don't necessarily agree with the ones that, I think Nike, was it a sumo driver? I mean, that was a weird old sounding thing. But yeah, now these Mizuno have come a long way over the period of years. They've always been known as an iron manufacturer, one of the best, if not the best iron manufacturer out there, but they've always struggled with woods. Why? Because quite frankly, at the start, the woods were probably not up to pace when it comes to the competition. Let's be honest, they weren't. And it's probably the ST190 which changed that. It was now that they put a lot of money, effectively, into research and development to try and get a driver to work properly with performance, where they've before maybe struggled to touch. And now it's got to a point at 190 to 200, and now the Z and X and G series. Yeah, it does look a very much nicer driver. It sounds much nicer, it feels nice, which is arguably sound as well, and it performs just as good as literally anything else out there. Yeah. Well, in that case, we need to go and double check, see what all the numbers look like. I'm going to try and summarise as best we can do, because there is a lot to talk through. So I'm going to summarise it, condense it down, because you don't need to know all the individuals, but I will put all the information we need, because we've got some blind testing to do. Let's go see how much difference these weights make and how far this thing goes. Right guys, welcome to the numbers side of the video. So let's, first of all, I would like to draw your attention to, not me, let's not bother about me, let's move these wedges and bits and pieces out of the way, if not us to keep on standing on them. Mike, the other pro we have here, very consistent swinger. He's not as fast as me, but he is just as boring, if not probably more boring than me. Let's go basically and cut this very long drawn out process very short. I want to show you necessarily where they went. So let's go first of all to the compare screen, because I don't want to go into all the, I mean, if you guys want all the data, then by all means comment below. I'll stick all the data down there, but you'll be able to see necessarily from the screenshots, you'll see what I mean. So it was 9 degree. We put it in the standard low spin as such setting, the draw setting, and then the high MOI straighty kind of setting. And then you can see that you've got head speeds on there, you've got dynamic loft, you've got dynamic lie, you've got face angle, path and attack, all that lot. It's all there. You can see the difference in strike points though. This is the biggest thing that I found when I tested Mike, was for some reason, when I had the yellow with the weights at the front, he was in the middle strike within reason. When I had it in the blue, the high position, weights at the back, right at the middle, he wanted to hit the middle. As soon as I put the weights in the heel, instantly he gravitated towards the heel. That is interesting. He didn't know that. I picked the golf club after he hit his data set. I then moved some weights. Did I move the weights? I say, right, well, I could have moved the weights. I may have not. I could have, I don't know. Hit it and go and have a look. So let's go flick over to the actual screen, and now you'll be able to see. So the yellow was in the standard low spin setting, yes. Okay, his ball speed's 148, launching 13 degrees, and spinning, yes, down at 2.2. So there you go. It is lower spinning in the low spinning thing for him, and he did not know this. Remember, it was purely blind tested. Excuse me. Carrying 257 and then going to 85. Then I moved the weight. He didn't know that. I could have put it there. I could have moved it anywhere. I put it in the draw setting. Instantly, he's launching it lower, spinning it slightly more, but missing it left. You can see by the circles on your screen, he was missing it left. No different to when I then put it in the blue. He then started to come away from the draw side of things, the left-hand side. It would have been interesting probably to do the high one first, because he was reacting straight away to the fact that it was now different. It wasn't in the left. He was now slightly missing it right, but the circle is smaller. If you look at the size of the circle, size of the blue relative to the red and the yellow, it's smaller. Higher MOI, more forgiving, more tighter dispersion, that idea. We are talking driver here, so we are talking fairly marginal. We can't, it's not reinventing the wheel. Any manufacturer is trying to do things with technology to try and have an impact. And it is, I mean, it's not going to put your dispersion on a 2 pence piece when you put it in the high MOI setting, but the fact that it's got a high MOI setting and it's making a difference, wonderful. So that was his, and I will go into ball data if all that, like line by line, but I won't bother. Right, let's go do before me the other player. I wouldn't say he's a low handicap. He's a mid to low handicap. He's hovering the double figures, but driving for him is a strength. He feels that he's fairly straight and stuff like that. Won't go into too much detail, but yeah. So for him, obviously through speed issues, he hasn't got the same speed as me or Mike. So he's effectively having to use more loft to try and use it as a fair test. So straight away, It went from a 9-degree head, because it's a 9-degree, and we went up to 11 degrees because it has that motion between 7 degrees all the way up to 11. So you've got 5 different, all that, with all the other weight settings, so many different, So first one we did, the low spin setting. Club head speed 97 miles an hour. Again, he's missing out. He's not into triple digits, but still 97 miles an hour is not too bad. Dynamic loft 15.3, dynamic lie 7.1. You can see, so he's only hitting up by 2.8. I'm much more than that, but you can see there the strikes of all of them were relatively middle-ish on average. But you can see, even so, the difference on the data there is not huge when it comes to club dynamics, because again, I blind tested him. I didn't tell him what I was doing. I basically just got him to hit lots of shots, and then he basically either agreed it was this or not, or he tried to guess, but yeah. Let's get to see what actual difference it made. Now, here we go. This is what happens when you get a handicapped golfer. You start getting a little bit of what we call blurring. Does the draw make a difference? You can see by the red circle on the top right of that image. Yes, it does. And the yellow with the low spin setting, the lowest spin setting is the most unforgiving, you could argue, which it is. And you saw the ring, the dispersion ring of the yellow get bigger. Equally, the interesting thing is it had an opportunity to go as far left as in the draw setting from the low spin, but with the low spin being unforgiving, it equally went much further right than the draw setting ever would. So arguably you could say on here out of the draw setting and out of the low spin setting, because we're not talking a huge distance gain of 4 yards, I would keep it in the draw for that side of dispersion. Then the interesting thing happened afterwards is when I put in the high MOI, the weight right at the back. And look at the dispersion, look at the blue. Now, we are talking he's now right, true. But I did put the weights in the high after the draw. So he's potentially reacting to the completely different, he's obviously used to seeing the ball go left. Whether he's reacting to it, I don't know. You could have 1,000 questions when it comes to blind testing. But Mike did it, and this guy did it as well. So is there some 2 for 2 coincidence? Yeah. But he's slightly longer on average carry in the high MOI, one, because it's got more spin. Remember, this is a low spin driver, generally speaking, and if the slower you're swinging, the lower ball speed you're going to get, the lower spin speed thing you're going to find. So having the weights further back, adding a little bit of spin to it, actually kept the ball in the air for a bit longer. And then he ended up with not much more carry, but we are talking a little bit more carry. His dispersion ring was smaller, was tighter. So again, the high MOI option does seem to keep the tightness of your dispersion circle smaller. It is too far to the right for my liking. Yes, it is. And we would go back to, well, what I want to say when it comes to my data, that I'm finest. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because, again, we're going to be here forever. Did it make a massive difference to me? It does make a difference-ish when it comes to the weights. You can see there that you've got the yellow as the low spin setting, you've got the red as the draw. What I struggled with anything was this golf club initially, for me, just wants to go right. Just wants to go right. That's what it wants to do. As soon as I used it, I mean, I put my own shaft in there, and it wants to go right. So that's the thing. To get this going straight, I am literally having to use a counterbalance shaft, and I'm not normally shaft sensitive. Never. I'm never normally shaft sensitive at all. Until this. This is the first time really that I have ever had a driver that I need to mess about with shaft to try and keep it from a certain part of the. I mean, again, different people will like the fact that it moves to the right, so other people will like that. It's a consistent. But if you look at the, yeah, it does make a difference. Yes, it does. For me, personally, is the 220G better than the 200G? For me, no. No difference whatsoever. The looks are slightly different, fresher, and all that lot, yes. Other people, though, having the fact that it's got that one thing in the back, I mean, the fact that it's got that thing there, the high MOI idea, that one, would potentially enable golfers to be able to use a lower spin profile head with the knowledge of the fact that it's not as unforgiving as most low spin profile heads. That alone, in some people's case, makes the old purchase of the 200G, which was never going to be a functional, realistic idea, now becomes a functional, realistic idea. There you go. So, I would like to do this test again when I'm fully fit and I've got all my shoulders and wrists and bits and pieces like that are functioning properly. Don't play football with your 9-year-old. So, at the end of the day, it feels no real different to the old 200G. It's slightly different. I actually quite liked the whistle that I used to get from the 200G with the tracks. Used to interact with the air on practice swings. Used to get a like that. But yeah. So the emphasis on this one and the message, more to the point, is test it, yes, but go get fit. Don't just test this in an environment where someone just gives it to you just to hit out onto the range, because unless this is dialed in to potentially where you need to be, the chances of you stumbling on the perfect custom fit for you is minuscule, near on nigh impossible. So the gains you can have because of the weighting is quite profound, especially in cases, or certain cases, mine not so much, but in Mike's, who's, again, pro, he's a very consistent swinger, you saw by his data, it really did make a difference to him. So, anyway, enough of that. If you really want me to put all the bits, I've got so much information on here, it is silly. But I will keep it, and if you guys want reeled information, I can, in some way, put that information up for you to look through. I don't mind, it's just lots and lots and lots and lots of data. But, hope you liked the video. If you did, click that little like button below. Looks like that. There you go. Next to it, a little subscribe button, little red one, click that one. And next to that one, the bell. If you click the bell, that will let you know next time I upload another video. So we hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.